What's up, everyone? This is Jamilia from ByteBow, and you're listening to the Barely Legal in Web3 podcast, the show that talks about Web3 in a way that you can understand and highlights some of the barely legal stuff that's happening in the ever-evolving world of crypto, NFTs, and DAOs. On this show, I give you legal analysis and a bit of perspective, along with my amazing guests who are all thriving in these Web3 streets. So if you're ready, let's take a look at what's been barely legal in Web3. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the next episode of Barely Legal in Web3. I'm so excited today. We have a guest on our show, and this guest is someone who I personally admire and look up to. She is an OG in this crypto space. She's basically pioneered from being a financial underwriter from the USAA and now into Web3 technology. Please welcome to the show, Brenda Gentry, aka CryptoMom. Welcome, Brenda.
You're so kind. Thank you so much, Amelia. Every time I have to get used to being a pioneer. That is just, I have to get used to that. Thank you.
Thank you for being on. And one thing I wanted to tell you before we kick off our interview is that I actually, when I first came into the space, I noticed you on Twitter when I first came into crypto Twitter. And I saw your profile and I saw the conversations that were going on, and I said, I need to follow her. She's someone I need to watch. I need to follow her. And so you're here on the show today, but essentially, I mean, I've been a fan for a while.
You're so kind, and I'm very humbled. Actually, I stay humble on Twitter. I try to stay humble, even though crypto Twitter can be rough, you know. Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for inviting me as well.
Yes. And Brenda, the people that are watching the show and are listening to the podcast, they basically want to know about your journey and your background. How did you go from being an underwriter and having like a full-time 9 to 5 job in what we kind of call the grind to this new lifestyle and this new idea of entrepreneurship in Web3?
Wow, it's been a blessed journey, I must say. So when we spoke, last, I let you know, I briefed you about my background, and I'm gonna just say that that's what makes me really enjoy every minute. I grew up in Kenya. I spent 18 years of my life in Africa. So I've been in 3 different continents. I've lived in Kenya and I've lived in Germany for 10 years. And then I moved to the States because of military. My husband was military. So I've had that diverse background of different continents. And to me, I'm appreciative of every place in life. And when I got to the space where I was doing 9 to 5 and I was working in banking, traditional banking, I made it a point to be the best at what I do in the bank. So I was going to retire at the bank. I was going to do I was going to work till I was 65 like everybody else, and I was going to be happy with that too, because this is what we grow up learning. Like our parents retire and the next generation, and then we retire, and then we want our children to retire because it's this what so I just noticed that the marriage between tech and finance was very interesting to me from a younger age, and I wanted to get involved in by all ways because I didn't want the tech boom to leave me behind the way it did in the 80s and in the 90s when we were just finding out about Microsoft and AOL. And years later, like I literally like 99 towards 2000, that's when you're finding out like, man, people came in, made money, and now they're multimillionaires, and yet you didn't even know about it.
Yes.
So you can attest. So women were left behind. We didn't know. We really just didn't know. So when my daughter was talking about going to UT to study computer science, it was such an awakening for me. And I had a business. I had a mortgage business. And during the market crash of 2008, I decided I didn't want to do anything business related, because you're used to this lifestyle where you're comfortable every day, every week you get a paycheck, and then you go to a business, you're doing well for a year, and then boom, market crash.
That's such an amazing story. And I just want to kind of like stick on for a minute this idea that you kind of had to re educate yourself about what it means to be successful. At least that's what I picked up from that. Because I too, I come from a background. My mom worked for the telephone company for 20 plus years, excuse me, 30 years,
Wow.
and she
Wow,
retired.
congrats to her. Mhm.
And but like you said, like that was it. That was the thing to do. And the
Mhm.
expectation is that I too would do something like
Yes.
that. Stay with the same company, get your
Mhm.
pension, get your 401k, all that stuff, and then that is what you have, and then that's it. And it sounds like you kind of went through a journey of re-educating yourself about finances.
Yes, because I noticed, like, when you work at a military bank and you see the colonels and you see the commanders, and I'm like, okay, you're buying a house right before the retirement at the age of 50. Like, what else is there to look forward to in life? Because in America, once you get that picket fence and you buy the home, then you're set. Like, life is
That's
good.
it.
Like, I'm retiring and that's it. I'm like, no, there gotta be more to life. Like, literally,
Yes.
we cannot just be buying homes and be in a nice picket fence and no one's changing the status quo. Um, and I knew there had to be. I felt like when as I got deeper in prayer, the Holy Spirit was telling me there's more for you. There's more for you. And even though I loved working at the bank and I loved clocking in, and they loved me, and I was like, there has to be. I have to make a difference for the next generation. And then again, the generation after us, our children, my 24-year-old, she came to work at the bank as well because I wanted her to follow in my footsteps.
Yeah.
But she was like, Mom, this cubicle life ain't it. I'm like looking at her like, what you mean it ain't it?
She wasn't feeling that, right? She was not
Girl,
feeling that.
she was not feeling it. I'm like, look, you're gonna get a pension, you're gonna get this, and you're gonna get benefits. And plus they give us a bonus every year. Girl, we be getting 10K bonus every February. Like, that was the life. Like, how can
Yeah.
you not like that? You know?
Wow. So what was the moment where you were like, okay, this ain't it. This ain't it. There's more. I mean, you prayed about it. You knew there was something else. What was that moment when you're like, I'm letting go. I'm letting go of that and I'm on to something new.
Good question. So 2010, I had about Bitcoin and I was reading about, I just like new trends. I had my pastor was telling me to look into it because he wanted to get into Bitcoin. So I was being the entrepreneur known in the church around that, I was a realtor, I was doing different things. He was like, hey, I want you to tell me if this is good. So I was looking at it and I didn't know how to read the white paper then, but I was like, man, this is about to change the banking system as we know it. But then when you go back to your bank and you have to do those courses, the trainings that tell you, oh, you can't do this because it's used for money laundering. Back then, Bitcoin was being used only for illicit, like Silk Road, for drugs and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna stay away from it. Come 2015, I say, no, I'm gonna go in. Ain't nobody gonna know. I'm just gonna, go online and buy my Bitcoin and just keep it to myself. And so I went in and I went to Reddit. I think it was Reddit, and people were freaking out because I think they were trying to figure out how to cash out the Bitcoin. At that time, they were trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do with Bitcoin? We just going to sit on it? Like, what are we going to do with it? Like, we don't do drugs. What's up? So I got cold feet and I didn't buy. And then 2016, my daughter goes to college and she's like, okay, Mom, remember what we're talking about but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the technology behind it. Like I'm talking about blockchain technology. So it just opened our eyes. Like my husband, he's into tech as well. And we were like, well, tell us more about it. And she was going through these phases, like she would get into something and then she would just be like, okay, I'm done with it. So she got into the next phase, I think was acting. Like, girl, she was like, Mom, I want to be an actor. I'm like, girl, can you make up your mind? Let's figure out what's this blockchain technology. So when she got into another phase, my husband and I got into blockchain technology. And then I realized something big is just this. There's just, I can't place it, but it's good. And then she got another call from a friend of ours who's a developer, and he was telling her about blockchain in 29 towards the end of 2019. And then she came back now. She was like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. And then God did something. And I'm not, I wouldn't say God allowed. Okay, God allowed it. The pandemic happened.
Yeah.
It was, we don't know what was caused by, but it happened. And when we were working from home, we had nothing but time. You finish your work and then you got time, and
That's right.
the girls are back home. And and I told my daughter, guess what? They're allowing us to take money from our 401k. Which think I should do it? And she said, I don't know, you do what you want to do. And I was like, I'm gonna take money from my 401k because I'm a risk taker. So I took about 20k, right? I took about 20k because Bitcoin had dropped to 3,800. Ethereum was literally at 290, and I just bought crypto. And then next thing I know, it was at 7k, and I had not seen a 2x in 10 years. So my eyes opened, and I said, "Oh man, God, thank you."
Okay, so you basically you had the benefit of your daughter, right? And then you also had the benefit of understanding like these financial principles, returns, how money is used and these things. And it just seems as though now we're at the point where everybody's talking about adoption, mass adoption. When are people going to finally, come into the space and understand what's going on? Do you think that by listening, do you think that people who are listening to this podcast or listening to this show are going to get it now? Or when do you think that people are really going to get it? When is it going to hit them on the head and be like, man, I got to buy something?
So I think what's happening is, and this trend happens probably every 4 years. Like every 4 years, when the halving of Bitcoin happens, then we get a bull run, and people get excited, and they forget that it's not always going to be a bull run. Yeah. So when I came in 2020, it had been it was the beginning, and there was money coming in, and so everybody was flocking to the space. But a lot of people just thought that they would get rich tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be a millionaire tomorrow, because that's what we were all saying. We're all gonna make it. We're all gonna, buy our mom houses. Like my tweet went viral when I said I retired my parents, which thank God, I did. And even the bear market being here doesn't change anything. They're still retired. I'm still doing what I do. When I knew when it was the top, because things just did not, things didn't make sense the way we were going.
Right.
Like the height at which we got at last year, when at 67 and Ethereum at 4,800. So people right now are scared. And when you're scared, you can't invest. And that's where people are. There's fear. And there's fear also because of regulation. People are scared they're going to regulate the heck out of crypto. And then why? Why should I tell the bank anything about, or why should I tell the SEC or the CFTC about what profits I'm making? Because they like crypto because of the fact of the decentralization aspect of it. So right now, if you go on Google Trends and check crypto, how it's trending, it has declined 80% from last year, same time last year.
Wow, 80%. Wow.
80%. 80, actually 82.
So people are really scared. People are
scared. And scared people ain't going to invest.
That's true.
And that's one thing about, I'm going to say, our people, because they go with the mass. Like you can't follow what everybody's doing. Like, just decide and don't be on Shade Room because everybody's saying it's a Ponzi or whatever. You thinking it's a Ponzi. Well,
Right.
no, that's how we get left behind. So what I did, in fact, if anything, I doubled down on my sports. Like, whatever I'm holding, I'm gonna hold double that.
Love it.
So right now, there's no reason why anybody in 2024 should come back and tell us, oh, I didn't know we were in a bear market in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Right.
have no reason to not do better for your family, for for yourself. And if you're looking to retire in 20 years, you can cut that down to 10 years because you've been given, we're living in such an unprecedented time to where we have the opportunity to change the way we do things now
Right.
and the way we think.
That is so powerful. And this way of thinking that you're talking about now, like you're talking about investing and understanding the different trends, right?
Mhm.
When you take this knowledge, you've done some consulting projects. Can you talk a little bit about how you've helped other businesses in the space and what your thoughts are now about the current businesses? I mean, I think we kind of went through a cycle with that too, right?
Yeah.
Like last year, there was a cycle of all of these, different types of projects that were coming out. Love to talk about what your thoughts are on what you see now.
I have last year my DMs were blowing up actually around this time. Look how times change. So this time around the market, I think what happened at the beginning of the year was the Evergrande default by China. And then we had the Ukraine war. And then we had the Terra Luna, one of the biggest stable coins in the space that defaulted, right?
Yeah.
And that brought down third AC, 3AC, the biggest hedge fund in crypto, that came down. And then a lot of the big influencers who made money in 2017, 18, 19, during that bear market that they put money aside, were making multi-millions in 19 and towards the end of 19 and 20 when the bull run started again. So you see all these people getting wiped out. Guess what? You're going to be like, I don't even know if I should put my business out there right now. You know what I'm saying? So all those projects are very cautious because they've not seen anything like this happen before.
Yeah.
For the biggest hedge funds, the VCs, even the VCs that are lending money or that have lent money, they're very cautious. So we're at a point where the projects that are reaching out to you are cautiously asking you, is it good to get in now or should I wait? Should I market now or should I wait? So now we have to tell them, we are also trying to figure out if you should get it now or not. You know what I'm saying?
We're
I'm
all
gonna be
trying to
honest.
figure it out.
Yeah, like this is not, there's nothing this is like nothing we've seen before, So if I tell you like one project is ready to launch and they got a good NFT utility and they're telling us I'm ready to go in September, and I told them don't. I personally was like, September is not a good month for you to try and launch because ain't nobody want to hear about no NFTs when especially Ethereum is at 1500. The
Yeah.
best time to go back in the market is when Ethereum is over 21 or 2500. Then
You
the sentiment is, people are bullish, you know what I'm saying? So right now the projects that we've advised 3 successful ones: Boss Beauties, Women and Weapons, the one that's with Dr. Hans.
the
Yeah,
royalty,
the,
yep.
and then we have a few successful DeFi projects. But what I've noticed is even the founders, I was talking to one of the guys at Animoca Brands yesterday, and he said that they have projects that they've also, they're also advising, and they're, partnered with, and they're telling them, hey, I think right now we just have to wait out until this rate announcement happening tomorrow, actually.
So
So
that's powerful too. I mean, the fact that we're looking at the trends, right? And as entrepreneurs, we also need to know like when is the right time to act? When is the right time to move? One thing I also wanted to talk about and kind of link it to this idea of what's happening in the legal space in Web3 is that we've
yeah.
also seen a lot of bad things happen starting in June and July. I mean, we've seen bankruptcies, we've seen Celsius, we've, the three arrows issue that cropped up and kind of just disseminated across the whole space and impacted so many different projects.
Yeah.
It really takes a toll. So you're looking at, number one, there's a price issue, right? So people are watching the price of Ethereum and Bitcoin drop. And then number two, there's a credibility issue because people are seeing bankruptcy and they're seeing, maybe some fraud. You also see cybersecurity. So there's all of these negative things that are happening in the space. And I guess the point that I would even say, I mean, I would like to tell people is that you have to look in the long term. This is not something, like you said, it's not something where you're going to come in overnight and you're going to make, you're going to be millionaire overnight. That's not really how it happens. Even for the people who bought in early, it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it's a business. It's a business if you're launching an NFT project. It's a business if you're doing something innovative like bundle bets, which we're going to talk about soon too.
Wow, for you as a lawyer in Web3, y'all got really busy because not only that, the Tornado Cash sanctions and all those wallets and when I say that, a lot of people don't understand that there was an exchange that, was shut down by the SEC. So all this is actually it's good for you, but at the same time, it had to happen. It
Yeah.
had to happen because there was just this was literally the wild west. Literally, like if you got in the scams and the fake the fake profiles that are shilling projects and then dumping on them. So they had to clean this mess out.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, right now I feel like we are at a place where now we're ready to go back in because a lot of that mess is gone.
Yeah.
A lot of that mess is gone, and it's a good thing.
Absolutely. And to really see how people are changing. Like I can tell you that when I first started to kind of pitch to people and say, "Hey, do you need a lawyer? Hey, do you need a lawyer?" People were like, "A lawyer? No, man, I'm going to shill this thing. I'm going to make some money. I'm not paying any legal fees." It was really difficult. And it was really
Yeah,
tough to kind of educate why you need a lawyer for your project
in
because your
web.
project is a business. Nowadays, it's like, "Excuse me, can you come in and help? Excuse me, can you come in and review this white paper and make sure that, we don't have red flags and issues like that?" And so it's
Really?
definitely, yeah, now it's definitely different. Now it's
That's really
definitely,
good to hear.
it is. I think it's a cultural change. The industry is becoming more accepting of the fact that lawyers are needed. And I would even take it a step further is that a lawyer should be a partner advisor in it as things are built out. You should really have somebody with
Yes.
a legal hat take
Yeah.
to
And
help
that's
out.
what we're doing on, yeah. And when you talk about bundles bets, so when you get ready to ask me,
Yeah.
that's what we decided we needed, especially for us. Yes. It's
Talk a bit
very
about bundle bets. I love that idea. I was looking at, I'm like, this
true.
is magnificent. This is great. Tell me about it.
It's my baby. I told my girls they're grown, so I needed another baby. So I love being in Web3 so much so that I've noticed that I get into projects that literally there's so much that people, like it's defying the status quo. Like people are like, okay, how is this even gonna work out? Like you all just can't do it because first of all regulations, and then nobody's doing it in Web3 because Web2 is right now just got a monopoly with. And can you, by the way, did you hear any background noise?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. My husband's in the other room and he's having a meeting. So I'm wondering if because I know I can hear him, but if you can hear him, then that's fine.
I can't hear
That's all
anything.
that matters. Okay, good. So I get into projects where I am attracted to it's kind of like a David versus Goliath. Like you're already looking like you're a David. You may not able you just too. How can you even beat everybody else in Web3 doing what they're doing. Like, those are the projects I like to get involved in. So when I got into bundles in 2020, the owner, who's British, then was just doing something to do with prediction markets. And where hey, they wanted to do it something like Ogre. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they're very big in prediction markets, like the last elections between Trump and Biden. It was only a few Web3 platforms that you could actually go and predict who's gonna be the next president. So I did like that, because I tried to go in and on the other project, and I didn't know how to do it. Like, it was not very easy for a noob to go in and learn how to place a bet or a prediction on those platforms. So when I got into bundles bets, I was like, we have to make this onboarding process very easy for people. People first of all have to learn how to buy Ethereum on Coinbase. Then people all have to get MetaMask, and then from MetaMask you have to go. It's a process.
Right.
And yeah, you can definitely tell us whatever. Like, he was very, very, very flexible with my ideas, and he even brought me on as a community manager. So that being said, I invested quite a bit. I moved all the money I had, in most of it from my holdings, into this project.
Wow.
And last year, January, he was like, you need to invest in stuff like NFTs. Like, he was so bullish about NFTs, because me and him became very good friends. So he was like, oh, you need to get into NFTs. And so my daughter had been talking about NFTs the year before, in 2020, when nobody was talking about NFTs. And she had done a campaign for Mick Jagger. So she was doing marketing for a lot of big NFT people that were coming into this space, like celebrities coming into this space.
Right.
So long story short, Simon told me to get Bored Apes in March. And I didn't. I was like, first of all, no, he told me to get the punks. The punk was $300.
Wow.
And that was 2020. He told me, have you checked? I mean, my daughter was showing me the punks, and then the NBA Top Shot, when nobody was talking about NBA Top Shot. Like, they were just buying up NBA Top Shot. They were buying punks. And he probably bought maybe 5 or 6 or 7 apes.
Wow.
Bored apes,
Wow.
right? And I
That's
was like,
insight right there.
I was like, Black people don't be buying no Bored Apes. So I was like, I'm not buying.
You were like, wait a minute
okay.
now.
I was like, no, we don't do that. So next thing I know, people are buying the same stuff for 10 ETH. And I'm like, hey, did you buy it? He said, yeah, I did. Told you. And he told me about the mutant too. And he stayed up, because he's in Britain, but he had relocated to Thailand. He was in Thailand, stayed up like till 1 a.m. trying to wait for the next buys. So, well, anyway, let's just say he made a good money last year.
Yeah.
And retired, building a very good mansion, big mansion in where he's at. And he's like, this DeFi, and you know how DeFi is fast paced. Like, you gotta be on Telegram every day. You gotta explain to people what's up with the project, where are the people, what's up. He just couldn't deal with it. He was like, listen, you are my top investor, and you have so many ideas. This is what I want you to do. We'll switch hands and you take ownership. And that's what happened. When I took ownership, first thing I did is I called a friend who was a former professional poker player, a sports betting analyst. I'm like, I want to turn this thing around. I want to make it a prediction pool, a prediction market, but add sports betting.
That's amazing.
And yeah.
So the idea of bundle bets, and so for those that are listening that are like, wow, this sounds very, forward thinking. It is a sports prediction market sort of platform, right? So that you can actually, and you mentioned kind of the concept before, so that you can actually take that information from however sports have ended and then predict how that will happen and then bet with it. What would you say to people who are listening now that's like, wow, this woman is so smart. She has all these ideas. She's done, she's got the financial background. She did underwriting. Oh, that's how she knew that. What do people need to do if they want to get to where you are?
Oh, wow, Jamilia, that is That's a humbling question, you know. I've seen myself my last dreams, and every time I dream, God talks to me in dreams, and He's been showing me that I'm going so far, and how far I'm going, I need to bring others there with me. You know, when it's different when you go somewhere and see there's a lot of gold and enjoy the gold by yourself versus you going and saying, hey, I gotta show you where the gold's at, let's go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm at a stage where I know for a fact, and you can quote me 5, 10 years from now, I hope we can replay this, because this conversation, when we play it 5 years from now, is going to prove everything I'm saying, that Web3 is going to make not just multimillionaires. Web3 is going to make people billionaires. There is one or two, maybe CZ, the founder of Binance, and then there is the founder of FTX, the 27, not even 30. I don't think it's 30. They made their money because they invested during the bear market. And that's what we're doing. We're investing right now during the bear market because we know without the shadow of a doubt, like it has to happen. There's a wealth transfer, like it's gonna happen. So getting into a project early while it's at $6 versus waiting when, because we've seen it's gone to $100. I'm not telling, and never ever giving financial advice. I don't tell people what to invest in, what to get in. Don't buy I don't shill any tokens. Matter of fact, don't get into my project because you can get you can be a gambler. I don't want to make anybody a gambler. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I hear clearly what the Holy Spirit is saying. Go set yourself up here. And when you do, it's just it's a trend. It's been since the Wall Street collapsed back in the 1900s. We go through these cycles of inflation, of recession, and then boom, it picks up again.
Yeah.
So with what we're building now, and we know there's nobody in Web3 doing what we're doing in terms, because everybody's scared of regulation, number one, and they're scared of getting licensing because obviously it's costly. So we found very good attorneys in the Web2 side that got into Web3, and I mean, our lawyers know Web3 so well that you can think they've been in Web3 all their lives.
That's awesome.
So
I love to hear that.
yes. So we know stake.com is not in the US, and there's a lot of money in sports betting. Is actually 40% is in the US. The rest is obviously the rest of the world, UK, Australia, but we are targeting the US market because DraftKings being number one is only Web2. They're probably getting into NFTs. And then you have FanDuel is also Web2. And then you have Bovada is all Web2. A lot of them they're leery about coming to Web3. They're not sure. They're like, not sure yet. But some of them, like stake.com, which is in Web3, but they're not legal in the US. So what we're doing is our attorneys have mapped out 8 states, and they started getting the licensing for at least, well, we're going to start with daily fantasy sports, and that should be ready hopefully by November during World Cup or around World Cup time. But what we're building, I can tell you this, I've gone to VCs that have turned us down and have told us, wait until next year. We're not ready to do, you have a very good idea, you have the best idea, but we're not funding right now, come back next year. Like I've had four tell me, 2 angel investors tell me, come back next year. And guess what I did? I took my money that I made
Yes.
from the last bull run. And that's what we do. We're women. We don't sit down and wait for someone to give us money to build. Don't give me money. I'm good.
I
I
love
have built
that.
a project with my own funds, and even my community. We have 1,500 holders of the token right now. They were telling me, CryptoMom, you don't need to do that. Just wait until the next time bull run and people will get VCs back in. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here with the project will be ready to go by November with nobody's funds, but my funds. And I'd rather put everything on the line because I know if you don't risk, there's no reward.
See, that's also a piece that I think that is understated, right? I mean, like you're building something, you have faith in it, you believe it, but there is this whole notion about web in the Web 2 space about going for funding. Like you see all these articles, oh, so and so, oh, they secured this Series B,
2 million,
Series
ten
C
million,
round,
but yes.
all money just flying all over the place. And then you come back and you check 2 years later, poof, they're
Mhm.
gone. They're
Exactly.
gone. The money's
Yeah.
gone. The people are
Hmm.
gone. So, I
Hmm.
mean, I think if that's one thing, another thing that people are, if they're listening, when they're listening, to take away is that just because you see that projects are raising huge amounts of money doesn't mean they're going to be there for the long run. You need to find the founders that have passion and commitment and are dedicated. And I love that about you, that you're actually doing that and that you're executing it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I've read a lot of biographies to know that when people are scared of getting in, when it's like Warren Buffett says, when there's blood on the streets, that's when you invest. And there's nothing better than investing in yourself, because if the money is sitting in my account or just I'm waiting for Ethereum to do a 2x, I might as well just build with that, because by the time I'm ready, Ethereum will be doing its 2x and we'll both be happy campers. I just think that, hey, I'm one of those who's believing to be on Forbes one of these
Oh
decades.
yeah.
I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
what
Wait till
decade
we
that's
see it.
gonna be. I don't know what decade that's gonna be, but I will be. I will be on there. I have to manifest it. I have to speak it. I have to believe it, because up to now I'm 46 years old. I'll be 47 next month. Everything that I've spoken into existence has come to pass. So why can't I believe that? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's what this is all about. And that's another reason why I wanted to have you on, because people who are listening that are coming into Web3, they don't understand crypto, they don't understand NFTs. You're a perfect example that learn it. Learn it.
Mhm.
Find people who are in the space, learn it, and then do your thing. Don't go in and, kind of be shy and be unwilling to think outside of the box. Think outside of the box. Recognize and identify what the problem is that needs to be solved, and then go ahead and build it. And even if you're just looking to learn to see if you can invest in something where, you're going to get the returns, and think about it from a long-term perspective. I think those are some great, great takeaways.
That is really good. That is awesome. Yeah, because if I didn't, I'd still be looking at another, what, 15 years at the bank, or even 18. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta tell you, Miss Jamilia, I'm like so happy since last year. I mean, I'm happy always, but the level of happiness, just that I don't have to go to work every day and log in. And I mean, the days are planned the way you want to plan them. That has just added a new list in life. You know what I'm saying? I looked at my picture when I was at the bank and now, and I think my years went back 10 years, because
Yes.
you're working so hard, and at the end of the year, the 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 owner, I mean, not the owner, the CEO of the bank is making 2 million bonus, and you're getting 10,000, and you think you think you did, and you work really, man, you work so hard, like 80
So
hours a
hard.
week,
Yeah, I
you know.
know. I
And I
worked at, yeah, I worked at
Yeah, corporate
SCB and it
America
was
is
crazy.
no joke. I mean, it's really no joke. Nothing to say. There's nothing wrong with corporate America. If you've put in your years and you want to that's good. But I just didn't want to be the one to be 65 and keep doing that, because especially in my career is very fast paced.
Yeah. And that's so true. And I spent some time in banking too. I lasted a full year. Then I was like, that's it. That's it.
Corporate as a lawyer, girl, you had that's a lot.
It shaved some time off of me, but that's exactly the decision I had
You're
to make
getting
to
it
get
back.
out.
You're getting it back. You've actually gotten it back. You look like you're a teenager. You look very young, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, hopefully this Web3 keeps us all young. I mean, I really
Yes,
think that the innovation, the people in the space, the idea of being collaborative and building something that is going to pass wealth to people who normally don't have access to it. That's what really this is all about.
that is so true. Web3 is exciting. And as much as I stay on social media checking, I stay mostly on Twitter. It's because the smartest people, but also they talk a lot of trash, but it keeps you so young. I stopped going to Facebook because sometimes you go to Facebook, the only thing you see is people dying or so died, so and so. I'm like, why?
Nobody
Why?
wants to
When
see
I go
that.
to Twitter, when I go to Twitter, it's like, I mean, they're talking about innovation. They're talking about, even it's bear market, people are building projects. Just look at today when I tweeted, Helium just did a merge with T-Mobile. They did some kind of partnership with T-Mobile. And Arbitrum is now on OpenSea. It's just so much, banks coming in and forming their own exchange. That was last week. So how can you not want to be in this space with all this innovation going on?
I think that
You get what I'm
is
saying?
absolutely. And I think that's a brilliant point to leave with the listeners is that if you want to grow, if you want to develop, you got to be in this space, whether it's from the perspective of an investor or an entrepreneur or an educator or a consultant. There's so many different roles, artists, marketing. We could keep going, but this is the space to really be and to grow in. Brenda, CryptoMom, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation.
You have been a blessing to me, my dear, and I appreciate you for inviting me. And hey, I'll see you in Accra.
Hey, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there.
That's gonna be so good. Awesome.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
if people want to follow you, if they want to, if they want to keep track of your developments, where can they find you?
I live on Twitter.
Mhm.
So at Miss Crypto Mom 1 on Twitter. And yeah, I'm mostly on Twitter. Now, if you DM me, I usually check. My daughters think I spend too much time checking DMs, but DMs have made me so much money. I always check my DMs. And yeah, I think Twitter would be it, because Instagram is still trying to figure out how to clear those fake impersonators I have on there. There's so many, and lots of, one lady reached out, lost 16,000, and it made me
Oh,
so upset.
wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Twitter it is then. Guys, if you want to understand, if you want to partner, if you want to support Brenda Crypto Mom and what she's doing, follow her on Twitter, reach out in the DMs. Brenda, thank you so much for being on the show once again. And yeah, I'll see you in Ghana.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I really hope you all enjoyed that episode as much as I did. It was really a pleasure talking to Brenda. She is a pioneer in the space and, of course, a woman in Web3 to look up to. If you listened to Brenda's story and you felt inspired, if you felt as though that there was something about her journey that resonated with you, I encourage you now to think about taking a course or learning and taking the next steps to really understand more about Web3 technology. You see a lot of news articles about Web3 companies and NFTs and crypto and all of this stuff, but it really is still very early days. There's still time to learn, definitely. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're already sort of learning as we go. So I offer courses. You can check out my website. It's JamiliaGrier.com. If you still want to learn more and be entertained as well, you can check out the YouTube channel, which is Jamilia Grier on YouTube. And just keep following us along in the journey. I'm on TikTok as well if you want to find out about the creator content journey, which is also pretty cool. But we're building a community of people who want to learn about this stuff. You don't have to be a lawyer. If you are, that's great. We can talk about legal issues as well. But if you just want to learn and you're looking for a safe space, come join us. Take care, everyone. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. You know, I appreciate when you guys tune in and the time that you take to listen to the show and support us. And I have one thing that I'd love for you to do that would really help us out, which is rate the show. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you rate it. You can do it on whatever platform you're listening on. That would do wonders for us. And if you really want to be a super fan and really support the show, there's a link below that you can support us and donate a small monthly contribution, which allows us to continue to create great content for you. Thanks so much again. Appreciate you and see you next time.